All right, this is a brief one. Yeah, we under the red lights today. Just getting some work on the studio, getting how I'm gonna do this thing and get my stuff in order. So just playing with the red lights real quick. So first off, I want to say shout out to Big Knock, Nocturnal Thoughts, a very good channel. And I like the way he do things. I like the way he handle business. Big Knock kind of reminds me of one of my older uncles, and I can cook with him. I can feel the vibes. One second. Let's see. Oh, I'm gonna close it. All right, one second. So, like I was saying, Big Knock is kind of like, one of my, I view him as like a big uncle, you know what I'm saying? Big homie kind of guy. So this is my response video. This is not gonna be that long. This is just a quick one before I get out of here and, go to Quick Trip and stuff like that. But anyway, Big Knock broke down some of his thoughts on the fight, and I'm gonna go ahead and break down some of my thoughts on the fight. Good question and good thought process. Nocturnal Thoughts, Big Knock, good video. And I like Big Knock because he's bringing back an element of the YouTube boxing community with the response videos. He does that well, and I like it. I enjoy it, and it's cool. So here's my response to Big Knock. So about Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence, I'm gonna say this. When we start talking about boxing and we start designing the habits of a boxer, and we start to build and mold what we believe a boxer should be in and out of the ring, right? I find myself designing Crawford more so as opposed to Earl Spence. This is just the psychology first. When I say I envision a boxer always being in shape, having very, very little flaws, active, don't take no shit, about his business, got a great testimony, he's not with the nonsense, as opposed to Earl Spence, I've seen more of that than not, right? So the boxing lifestyle and the epitome and the example of what a boxer should be lies with Terrence Crawford to me. Now when you start looking at the stylistic matchups, the amount of fights, Terrence Crawford had more fights than Earl Spence. Terrence Crawford got more knockouts than Earl Spence. And we can always question who and how and when, but for some reason, if I were to say, well, okay, Earl Spence did knock out Mikey Garcia. And I think the Mikey Garcia, Kell Brook, and the Sean Porter fight, Mikey Garcia fight, the Sean Porter fight, and the Kell Brook fight are fights to point to look at what chinks in Earl Spence's armor can be exploited. And here's why. Because Mikey Garcia is a high-level, patient, thorough boxer. We can all agree that Mikey Garcia is a thorough fighter, okay? Highly intelligent fighter. The issue with Mikey Garcia and why we feel that Mikey Garcia couldn't beat Earl Spence is because he just lacked the physical intangibles. But the boxing skills was there. The nuances was there, and Earl Spence did not stop him. And Mikey Garcia asked for the fight. So I just would plug in a fighter that I know that if that fighter had said attributes, the fight would be different for Mikey Garcia. or a fighter in that position of a Mikey Garcia. And that's Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford has the physical intangibles to do way more damage than what Mikey Garcia did. Once I saw that Mikey Garcia went in there and was able to last and kind of get some blows in, but just couldn't exploit Errol Spence because he just didn't have the physical gifts or intangibles to beat Errol Spence. When I put Crawford in that same position, it just spells disaster for me for Errol Spence Jr. When I look at the Shawn Porter fight and I look at someone who is a comparative opponent, and I look at the push that was given by Shawn Porter, and this is Errol Spence before the car wreck and medical issues and damage to soft tissue, soft muscle tissues and nerves and spines and bones and all that. This is prime Errol Spence against Shawn Porter. The difference in that fight was a knockdown. The difference was a knockdown, big knock. And if you push the pace, that shows me that Errol Spence is not as comfortable as people like to believe. Errol Spence cannot fight off the back foot. Terrence Crawford can and still be devastatingly good. Terrence Crawford can fight on the front foot, and he definitely can be devastatingly good. Terrence Crawford can download and process information and still be good. Errol Spence just can't do those things. Errol Spence doesn't process information as well as Crawford. Errol Spence is more on the physical side. And I feel that that physicality is not superior than Terrence Crawford. It wasn't that superior to Kell Brook, and it wasn't that superior to Shawn Porter or even Danny Garcia. However, he got the victory. Kell Brook, you know, he broke him down because, you know, Kell Brook had a misstep and calculated a fight with Triple G, which degraded his bone structure in his face. And once you break one side, it's easy to break the other one. All athletes know this. You break one arm, you're most likely going to break the other one. You pull a muscle in one leg running track, you're most likely going to pull the other one. And that's for my athletes out there. I'm not having this conversation with motherfuckers who can't lift 135 pounds. I'm talking to Big Knock, because I know, Big Knock, you know this. I know that you know if you tear your bicep. I know that you know that you usually compensate because you appear to be a guy who fuck with the gym. And I know you know this. So once Errol Spence had the pleasure of adding to what Kell Brook had already been exposed to, which is a broken eye socket, on the other side, it's easier. Just like Errol Spence. Once he got out the car wreck, we've heard him having eye injuries and injuries after that, because it gets easier as you get older. It gets easier to hurt yourself, and it gets harder to recover, especially if you haven't been living a clean lifestyle. And I think all of those things are going to show its ugly head on the night of the fight with Terrence Crawford. At some point, this stuff is going to show its ugly head. And when I look at Terrence Crawford and him being the epitome of the boxer that I would design and what you guys would design, because you guys, I've heard what you guys believe a great boxer should be. You've described what a great boxer should be. And to suggest that this is even close, considering the fact that every last one of us would describe Terrence Crawford as the boxer that we would design across the board. Errol Spence is the opposite of that. And for us to continue to suggest, now I'm not trying to convince anybody, I'm just giving my piece. I'm adding to the table, Big Knock. This is a response video. because it's a good topic to have. It's a good conversation to have in lieu of the fight, right? I just don't see where Errol Spence gets a victory in this fight. Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia are examples of what I would look to kind of judge Terrence Crawford. And the reason that is because Kell Brook, Danny Garcia, and everybody damn near on Terrence Crawford's resume, I have to combine them all to equal to what Terrence Crawford actually is. And Terrence Crawford is Mikey Garcia, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, Udonis Ugas, wrapped in 1 times 2. Ugas and all them guys are not Terrence Crawford. It's not even close. It's not the same. And I'm just thinking about all the small nuances, and they small now, that Errol Spence has struggled with against these opponents. Crawford embodies every single attribute that can be used against Errol Spence. Patience, the athleticism, and people want to downplay the athleticism. The athleticism allows you athletically to put yourself in position to exploit a weakness within a physical altercation. I don't know if that's a short-term definition for you guys, but for example, if I am fast with my hands, then the probability of me hitting you with multiple punches are highly probable. If I am fast with my feet, it is probable that I will be able to move around you with great success because of my athleticism. So this downplaying of athleticism while simultaneously downplaying the injury effect and the damage that Errol Spence has taken throughout his life, that's where you're going to find yourself confused and say, well, when this fight happened, I didn't see this. A guy who has a clean lifestyle and is the epitome of a boxer, and we all would design Terrence Crawford as that boxer. Errol Spence is not. I don't see how we pick the guy who we believe is not the epitome of a boxer in and out of the ring over the guy who we believe is. I don't see how we pick a guy who we know can do all the things that we saw Mikey not do but have some success. He could do that times 5. Everything that Sean Porter did to Errol Spence. So everything that, let's say this, and I'm gonna wrap this one up. This is a quick response video. I don't want this that long because Big Knock like to get out the way. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out the way. I'm keep it at about 15 minutes. Just briefly, because this is a response video out of respect. Like Big Knock, subscribe to Big Knock. That's the OG. I fuck with him. I rock with him. But let me run this down real quick. For me, Terrence Crawford lives the lifestyle. He has everything that Mikey Garcia did good against Errol Spence. Terrence Crawford can do that times 5, and he can do the weaknesses that Mikey Garcia had, meaning that he's in range, he's longer, he's taller, he's faster, he's stronger, okay? Everything that Danny Garcia did with the patience, you know, downloading information, the counterpunching, Crawford can do that times 5. Pushing the tempo, making it a rough, rugged, tough fight, getting his lick back. He can do that like Porter times 5. Muscling you down, keeping you at the end of your jab, keeping you at the end of that stick, giving you some movement to a stoppage. He did that against Kell Brook, and Kell Brook, he could do exactly what Kell Brook do with keeping you at the end of that jab times 5. So when I can't combine all that together, I get a victory for Terrence Crawford as of now. Shout out to Big Knock. This is my response. This is my early breakdown, and those are my opinions, man. Hey, like you say, salute. Y'all have a good day.